Welcome to All Things Right. I'm your host, Hugh. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and push the bell notification so you're alerted every time I post a new video. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Hugh Jasso, the number 2. That's Twitter, HUGHJASSO, the number 2. That's Twitter. I'm on Twitter regularly, along with a ton of other people. Anyway, today's topic is going to be liberal privilege, and that is going to be in light of the whole Jussie Smollett situation and how that moron actually got deferred adjudication so quickly on us after 16 felony counts. 16 felony counts. He got deferred adjudication. And furthermore, there was also, there is also possible federal charges. And those federal charges are actually being investigated and pursued, from my understanding. And liberal privilege is definitely something that exists. And I want to talk about my own personal example of liberal privilege. Not only that, but it involves someone that we all know right now, and it is Robert Francis O'Rourke. I know a young lady in El Paso, Texas, and she came. I've known this young lady for many years, and I was friends with her. Well, I am still friends with her, and I was friends with her husband and her 2 children. And to my dismay, back in around 2014, they told me that they, the man, the husband, had contacted me and told me that they were getting a divorce. This caught me off guard because I didn't think that they were having any problems. I didn't think that there was anything going on. Anyway, long story short, I'd been talking to the husband for a little while after he'd told me that they were getting divorced, and I was contacted by the wife shortly thereafter, and she told me exactly the reason why they were getting a divorce. And as it turns out, the husband, the man, is a very sick individual. Unfortunately, that man, that person who I thought was a good friend of mine, turns out to be a child rapist. And it turns out that he assaulted their own daughter when she was approximately 3 or 4 years old. And so when they had separated in 2014, I believe their daughter, who was a teenager at the time, I guess felt comfortable enough to, tell their mother that, hey, you know what, Daddy raped me when I was about 3 or 4 years old. So all of that came out to light, and the young lady shared this information with me, and me having a law enforcement background, she obviously asked me what direction she should go in, and I guided her, to the direction she should have gone in, as far as who she should talk to and all that kind of stuff. So long story short, again, he the husband moved out of state. Um, I, I believe, well, we all believe he moved out of state because it had come to his attention that the little girl had told her mother that her daddy had raped her, and so he moved to Colorado, um, which raises some red flags in light of current current situations involving Colorado and Denver and the Denver airport and all that kind of stuff. Kind of strange. Anyway, he left El Paso, Texas, moved to Denver, and he was arrested in Denver and extradited to El Paso, Texas, on charges for aggravated sexual assault on a child. And if you want to look this up, the case is actually documented in the El Paso County website under criminal cases, and the case number is 20150D, like David, 04887. Once again, case number 20150D, like David, 04887. That's the case number for this case involving aggravated sexual assault of a child, and it's public public access, so it is free to the public, so you can access that without any problems and without any repercussion, because it is public record. I am talking about this because not only did the district attorney, with a plethora of evidence that was presented, they not only did the victim have evidence, well, rather, not only did the victim say, made the actual outcry, but made statements that her father raped her. You had the victim. You had doctors that interviewed the victim. You had physical exams, and as well as corroborating evidence with the brother and the mother as well. Plus, you also had doctors that had interviewed the father, the person who had raped the young lady. Another set of evidence altogether. All of this evidence was presented to the district attorney, and the district attorney decided not to pursue the case. And well, as it turns out, this man, the husband, his stepfather, is an attorney whose brother is a state judge in El Paso, Texas, and has been a judge for a while. And so obviously some strings were pulled to where that case was not pursued. And the case was dropped, even though there was plenty of evidence to include the actual statement and testimony from the victim herself. The district attorney said, no, we're not going to pursue that. Well, Robert Francis O'Rourke figures into this because I personally, back in 2015, sent an email with the case number and the case to Robert Francis O'Rourke at the time, advising him of the corruption that was going on in El Paso, and asking him to look into it, and telling him that, hey, this is a blatant case, this is a blatant example of corruption. And he, at that time, was going under the premise and going under the platform of being the anti-corruption councilman, and he was supposedly being the anti-corruption state representative, and his whole thing was supposedly anti-corruption. And here I am presenting him a case of blatant corruption. And it's 2019, and I have yet to hear from him on this case. And it has come further to my attention that that he is obviously also very good friends with the sheriff of El Paso, and the sheriff of El Paso, as we all know, engages in sex with underage boys, especially across the border in El Paso. And as we all know, right now the situation in El Paso and Juarez is not good. They are having to make makeshift tent cities under bridges over in El Paso just to house the illegal immigrants. And the sheriff of El Paso frequents establishments in Juarez, Mexico. It is documented that he goes to these establishments that cater to men that want to have sex with underage boys. And in Mexico, he is not breaking the law, obviously, because the age of consent is 11 years old in Mexico. However, in the United States, that is breaking the law. Furthermore, I've shared links to several other instances where he has broken the law here in the United States, engaging in sex with 16-year-olds, and they have readily shared their experience that the sheriff of El Paso had sex with them, supplied them with cocaine, methamphetamine, and this is when he was the chief of police, and he continues to do this now as the sheriff of El Paso. And why this has not been looked into is beyond me. Once again, liberal privilege. Why does this exist? This needs to be looked into. I'm coming to you now. We need to look into this. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. Hugh Jasso 2, Twitter. Subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.